Good morning, guys. All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. A happy Monday to each and every one of you. Hopefully, you're starting this week off with a bang. And what a week it's going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Not only have we got the CPI print, which is coming out on the 13th, which is a Wednesday of this month, and expectations are expecting a higher CPI print than previously. We've also got the start of earnings season, and that's what we're going to be getting into in this video. Like, we're going to be covering some of the companies that are going to be giving their earnings. This is all going to filter into our market thesis. And we did a community update on yesterday, or we did a community update yesterday for my Patreon members where we really dove into some of this. So anybody that's interested in joining my Patreon, I think it's well worth it. But of course, I would say that. Check the link out in the description. And you're welcome to come on board. But really, this is going to be a volatile week. Yesterday, we saw markets prepare for this week, and we saw them act negatively. I think that's going to continue. Now, depending on what comes out on Wednesday is really going to depend on what direction markets go in. And you've also got earnings that are coming out after that. So there's lots taking place. We've also still got geopolitical issues, like the fact that Europe on high alert as Russia temporarily halts gas flows via major pipeline. This would be catastrophic. The good thing in regards to this situation concerning energy is we are currently in the summertime, so there's going to be less of an energy consumption. This explains why we've seen the likes of oil and gas actually drop in terms of price, and we actually have wheat at pre-invasion levels, but we're going to talk about all that in this video. There's just so much to talk about on a daily basis, guys, that it can be quite hard to keep up with it. We've got the US inflation data, and they're expecting it to be messy. Essentially, this is coming out on Wednesday. We saw markets essentially last night prepare for this and prepare for this week with a sell-off. I really don't want this to become a range-bound environment. I'm sick of everybody's a range trader now, and ultimately, you know, it does look likely that you're going to come back down and test these levels, maybe with an interaction here. Yeah, I can't see. We've said from day one, just like we said up here, and just like we said in the previous consolidation up here, this is not bottoming structure, and this is more like a bear flag structure that ultimately leads to a breakdown. You're doing a very similar thing today, and the fact that you rejected here and didn't push higher, you know, kind of confirms that. So we're biased that this still rolls over. Ultimately, the big thing for me is, how is crypto going to act in a recession? And we are entering a recession, if not already in one, to be quite frank. You know, a recession is just defined by 2 negative quarters. I believe we've had that. So it's going to be very interesting. I mean, we're actively trying to trade this market. You know, we've got a challenge going on in my Discord, which you get access from the Patreon, where we're actually trying to trade and make some money during this market, because that's how you're going to make money in this environment, is by trading and preserving the wealth that you've already got. So this week we've got the CPI data, which is looking like it's going to come in at 8.8. That's the expectations and the consensus, so the overall expectations. Not really sure the degree of accuracy that the consensus has in terms of hit rate. So previously it was 8.6. I think a lower CPI print, markets take relief from it. I think a higher CPI print, you know, Jerome Powell's very much reaffirmed, not only on the jobs report, which shows a strong labour market on the surface. I think there's a lot of data that gets sort of neglected going into that. But, you know, with inflation high, he's going to continue on the path that he's on, and there isn't going to be a break. Markets are kind of looking for a break. They're looking for relief. They won't get that if you get a higher inflation print. And also, if we start to get company earnings, it kicks things off on Tuesday with PepsiCo. And then we've got JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo on the Thursday and Friday. That's going to be key. And why is this key? Because this is going to tell us just how well the economy is doing. A recession isn't good for stocks or the tech sector and your risk-on stocks. It's good for certain stocks like commodity stocks. That's not always the case. But, you know, lower earnings is really going to dictate the fact that the economy is slipping into recession, and kind of a confirming factor. And that, to me, looks like where we're going. And again, to just bring up the fact that, you know, this is Bitcoin's first time in a recession. If you look at markets, since 2008, we don't want that. Since 2008, they've just gone up. So this is going to be Bitcoin's first time actually entering a recession. It's going to be very interesting to see how it fares. In terms of markets, you know, I watch the Asian market. When I get up, it's the first thing that I do is check the Asian markets. They're not having too much of a good day. Usually check the FTSE to see how UK markets are doing. It's not doing too well. We've got a very strong dollar today. continuing to go on and put in highs, which is a very likely scenario. This is all going to drain liquidity out of markets. And of course, you've got your futures opening for the NASDAQ and the S&P that is looking for downside. And we've been very much on this boat for a while now. We weren't the first to get out the markets, but we've certainly kept the stance that we've got. And we think a cash position is going to serve you in the long run. Certainly with all the kind of landmines that are deploying. The good news is, out of these kind of crisis situations, there's huge opportunities. I just don't think we've reached the bottom. I just don't think we've got to the worst that things can get to. If you look at what's happening around the world, so many melting pots in terms of, or boiling pots in terms of situations that are unfolding, whether that be Sri Lanka, Estonia, you know, we're really sort of waiting to deploy capital back in, but not at this moment. You know, that's the stance that we've kind of maintained for a while. So it's going to be a very interesting day. Big thing to watch today is, how does the US stock market open? And do we get another rug like we got over here, where it opened down here only to close? We were saying, you're going to gap here. You can go and check it on my Twitter. We did do that, and then we rallied and concealed it, and actually finished close actually out in the red as a result of this. But you've had this rally. Thing you've got to watch is you always act on this EMA. People will bid this up just because it is the 200 EMA. Traders broadly just do the same stuff and all look at the same thing. But the problem for me is you always act on this 200 EMA before slamming into recession. This is 2008. And this, of course, is the dot-com boom. And we're at very similar overvaluations. You know, the crises get bigger in terms of, you know, volatility and kind of damage. We've already seen more wealth taken, more wealth destroyed during this recent crash than ever before. And that's just because the volume of everything continues to grow and get bigger and bigger. So it's going to be a very, very interesting week. Hopefully this channel is keeping you guys as safe as possible and on the right side of things. If it is, let me know in the comment section. Forgive me for all the scammers in the comments, guys. It's really starting to annoy me. It's actually damaging to the channel. I don't know why nobody's doing anything about it. I'm a very, very busy guy. So I don't typically have time. Sorry about that, guys. I don't typically have time to, you know, police that sort of stuff. So if you guys can do it, I'm also looking to bring some people onto the team that will help with that sort of stuff, because it is a real issue, and I think it's something that really needs sorting. But this week is going to be a spectacular one. Watch the CPI prints. Also watch what the earnings are going to be towards the end of the week. If we have a bad CPI print, i.e. a higher one, and on top of that we have earnings that come out poorly, that's going to leave crypto, in my opinion, and Bitcoin very, very vulnerable going into the weekend. That is all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you want to check out my Patreon, feel free to do so in the description. I have done a video talking about what you get with my Patreon. It's 30 quid a month for the top tier, which is the one I recommend. Well worth it, guys. If you don't get 30 quid's worth of value out of it, just cancel the next one. But that's all I've got for you in this one, guys. Have a fantastic start to your week, and start it as you mean to go on, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. See you later, guys.